He guided us. He gave us insight. He gave us wisdom. He gave us direction. He gave us.
It was a Sunday morning, like any other at Fellowship Church, with sunlight streaming through the stained glass windows, warm hymns filling the air, and members of the congregation arriving with smiles and greetings for one another. Pastor Charles Jenkins had just begun delivering a sermon that, as usual, was filled with passion, conviction, and encouragement. His voice, strong and confident, carried across the sanctuary, weaving stories of hope, faith, and perseverance. For many in the congregation, this was more than just a weekly service. It was a source of comfort, inspiration, and guidance. But no one could have predicted how quickly the atmosphere would change that day. In what should have been an ordinary moment of worship, an extraordinary event was about to unfold. The first sign. Pastor Jenkins began his sermon with energy and fervor, gesturing with the ease of someone who had spent years perfecting his craft. His words resonated with the people listening, prompting nods, quiet murmurs of agreement, and smiles across the pews. At first, no one noticed anything unusual, though those who were paying closer attention might have observed that his voice wavered ever so slightly. His hand, usually relaxed as it rested on the pulpit, gripped it a bit tighter. Some interpreted it as a sign of his passion for the message, a way to connect more deeply with his audience. But then, in an instant, everything changed. The collapse. Within moments, Pastor Jenkins's strength failed, and he began to lean forward, losing balance. Gasps echoed through the sanctuary, followed by sudden screams and cries as the congregation realized something was terribly wrong. Chaos replaced calm as ushers rushed toward the pulpit, trying to support him, while others ran to call for medical assistance. Members of the church froze in disbelief, their eyes wide, some falling to their knees in prayer, while others instinctively tried to help. The vibrant sanctuary, once filled with the joyous sound of music and worship, was now filled with urgent shouts, frantic movement, and the unmistakable tension of fear. Witnesses later described it as surreal, almost as if time itself had slowed, each second stretching into an eternity as the gravity of the moment sank in. Immediate response. Trained medical personnel who were members of the church moved quickly, checking his pulse and ensuring he was stable while others worked to calm the panicking crowd. Some ushered people out of the immediate area to create space, while others continued to pray, their voices rising and intertwining in a mix of hope, fear, and desperation. Within minutes, emergency services arrived, paramedics wheeling in stretchers and equipment, moving with precision and urgency. The sanctuary, once echoing with songs of faith, now resonated with sobs, prayers, and whispered pleas for his life. Friends and family, many already present for the service, stood frozen in disbelief, holding one another tightly, unable to comprehend the sudden turn of events. Fear and hope. As Pastor Jenkins was carefully transported from the pulpit to the ambulance, congregants followed, tears streaming down their faces, hearts pounding with worry. The choir, who had moments before been singing with joy, now stood quietly, some covering their faces, others leaning on one another for support. Outside, the flashing lights of emergency vehicles illuminated the streets, painting the scene with urgency and concern. People gathered in prayer circles, holding hands tightly, as if their collective faith could somehow steady him. Within a few short minutes, the entire community had shifted from worship to fear and hope, clinging to the possibility that he would pull through. Arrival at the hospital. Upon arrival at the hospital, doctors and nurses immediately assessed Pastor Jenkins. The situation was serious, but the medical team worked diligently to stabilize him. A brief statement to the church indicated that he was alive, and under close observation, though details remained scarce. Inside the ICU, the atmosphere was tense yet focused, as medical professionals worked tirelessly to monitor his condition. The uncertainty was palpable. Family members remained by his side, unwilling to leave, offering quiet encouragement and unwavering support. His wife, dignified and composed despite her heartbreak, requested privacy, but reminded those around her to continue praying. Church leaders coordinated visits to ensure that someone was always near him, providing both emotional support and reassurance to the congregation. The spread of news of Pastor Jenkins's collapse spread rapidly. Social media erupted with posts, videos, and messages of concern. Hashtags like #PrayForJenkins began trending as followers from across the country shared their prayers, stories, and support. The church received messages from pastors, gospel singers, and public figures, all expressing love and concern. While the overwhelming majority offered support and encouragement, the rapid spread of information also fueled speculation and rumors. Some wondered if there had been a pre-existing health issue, while others questioned the impact of his busy schedule. In the absence of complete information, curiosity and concern naturally gave rise to discussion, reminding everyone that even well-loved leaders are human and vulnerable. Reflections on leadership. This incident sparked broader conversations about the pressures faced by pastors and spiritual leaders. Pastor Jenkins, known for his tireless work ethic, had been balancing a demanding schedule, traveling, attending meetings, preparing sermons, and fulfilling commitments to the community. Weeks prior to his collapse, some insiders had observed signs of exhaustion, but he had pressed on, driven by his dedication and sense of responsibility. The event became a reminder that even those who appear strong and resilient have limits, and that self-care is crucial, especially for individuals who shoulder the burdens of others' spiritual well-being. It highlighted the often unseen sacrifices pastors make and the importance of supporting them holistically. Community response. Within hours, the church and surrounding community had mobilized in unprecedented ways. Prayer chains were organized, vigils held, and messages of support flooded in from around the country. The congregation, while shaken, found solace in unity, holding each other up and turning their concern into collective hope. Members sang softly outside the church, held candles, and prayed for hours, creating a visible manifestation of faith and solidarity. Meanwhile, the gospel music community reached out, sharing personal stories, prayers, and messages of encouragement, reinforcing the sense of interconnectedness that defined the faith community. The role of social media. While social media served as a platform for collective prayer and encouragement, it also amplified speculation and uncertainty. Questions about the cause of the collapse circulated quickly, prompting discussions about work-life balance, stress, and the hidden pressures of ministry leadership. Some users highlighted the need for transparency, while others used the moment to discuss systemic issues within large churches and organizations. The incident revealed how quickly information and misinformation can spread, and how communities must navigate both concern and curiosity with sensitivity and respect. The first signs of recovery. As the hours passed, reports from inside the ICU brought cautious optimism. Family members observed small signs of improvement. Fingers moved, slight acknowledgments of presence, and fleeting moments of awareness. Each movement, no matter how subtle, became a source of hope and relief for those watching and praying. Doctors emphasized the need for careful monitoring, noting that the next 24 hours would be critical for his recovery. These updates, while limited, strengthened the congregation's resolve to continue prayers and support, and underscored the fragility and resilience of life in moments of crisis. Broader conversations. Beyond the immediate concern for Pastor Jenkins, the incident prompted reflection and dialogue within the church and the wider faith community. Leaders considered how to better support those in ministry roles, recognizing that no one person can bear the weight of an entire congregation alone. Discussions arose around succession planning, temporary leadership, and the importance of distributing responsibilities. Members of the congregation, while grappling with fear and uncertainty, also began to acknowledge the value of shared leadership and the necessity of caring for those who care for others. Faith and reflection. Amid the uncertainty, the community found strength in prayer, meditation, and shared stories. Longtime members recalled moments when Pastor Jenkins's words had inspired change, comforted during hardship, and offered guidance through difficult decisions. These recollections reinforced the significance of his role, not just as a preacher, but as a mentor, friend, and source of spiritual grounding. The event became a collective reflection on gratitude, vulnerability, and the importance of acknowledging human limits, even in the pursuit of faith and service. Messages from leaders. Messages of encouragement poured in from well-known leaders in the gospel and faith communities. Pastors, gospel artists, and public figures spoke of Jenkins as a mentor, an inspiration, and a dedicated servant of God. Their words reinforced the communal nature of faith, showing that challenges faced by one person resonate deeply across networks of shared belief and respect. The emphasis on unity, empathy, and prayer reminded everyone that support can take many forms through actions, words, and collective devotion. Spiritual lessons. The incident also carried a powerful spiritual message. Even those who lead with strength and conviction are human. Pastor Jenkins's collapse illustrated that vulnerability does not diminish faith. Rather, it underscores the reality of living fully, serving diligently, and accepting care from others. The congregation, while shaken, witnessed firsthand the importance of compassion, patience, and collective responsibility. Leaders and members alike began to re-examine how ministries are structured, how responsibilities are shared, and how to cultivate resilience without sacrificing well-being. Signs of progress. By the second day, updates from the hospital provided further reason for hope. Pastor Jenkins showed more consistent awareness and responsiveness, responding to quiet greetings and demonstrating subtle but encouraging signs of recovery. Family members expressed cautious optimism, while doctors emphasized the continued need for careful care and rest. Every small improvement brought joy to the congregation and community, reinforcing the importance of patience, faith, and collective perseverance in times of uncertainty. Looking ahead. As Pastor Jenkins continued his recovery, church leadership faced the challenge of maintaining services and support for the congregation. Plans were made for temporary leadership and adjustments to the weekly schedule, emphasizing continuity and shared responsibility. The incident prompted broader reflection on the need to balance devotion to ministry with personal health, leading to conversations about sustainable practices, mental health, and community support systems for leaders. A community united despite fear, speculation, and uncertainty, the congregation and wider gospel community remained united. Prayer vigils, online messages, and local gatherings provided opportunities to collectively process the experience, reinforcing bonds of faith and fellowship. The collapse, while frightening, became a moment of collective care, prompting both reflection and action on the part of the community. Members rediscovered the power of shared concern and the importance of supporting one another in tangible and spiritual ways. Enduring lessons, Pastor Jenkins's experience revealed important lessons about human limits, spiritual responsibility, and communal support. Leaders and congregants alike recognized that true service requires balance, care, and acknowledgement of vulnerability. The event encouraged renewed focus on empathy, rest, and shared responsibility within church structures, ensuring that ministry could continue sustainably while prioritizing well-being. These lessons extended beyond the immediate congregation, resonating throughout the faith community and serving as a reminder of the interconnectedness of leadership, faith, and care. Reflection and gratitude. As Pastor Jenkins gradually improved, members of the congregation reflected on the depth of their connection to him and the strength of their collective faith. Gratitude for his presence, guidance, and mentorship became intertwined with renewed commitment to support one another. The incident, though frightening, became a source of perspective, reminding everyone that faith thrives not only through leadership, but also through care, compassion, and shared responsibility. A new perspective. The aftermath of Pastor Jenkins's collapse has reshaped the understanding of leadership, faith, and human endurance within the congregation and beyond. Leaders have been reminded that no one person can bear the weight of a ministry alone, and congregants have been encouraged to participate actively in shared responsibility and care. The incident has inspired dialogue about healthy boundaries, sustainable practices, and the importance of prioritizing well-being alongside devotion to service. A community strengthened. Though the incident shook the church deeply, it also strengthened the bonds within the community. Members have come together to support one another, to pray with renewed commitment, and to recognize the importance of resilience, compassion, and collective care. Pastor Jenkins's journey has become a symbol of hope, illustrating the power of faith and unity in the face of uncertainty. The congregation has emerged with a renewed sense of purpose, understanding that while individual strength is admirable, collective support ensures sustainability and growth. Moving forward. As Pastor Jenkins continues to recover, the church and wider community have embraced the lessons of his experience. Conversations about self-care, leadership balance, and shared responsibility have become central, reminding everyone that health, faith, and service are interconnected. The congregation has recommitted to a holistic approach to ministry, valuing both the spiritual and physical well-being of those who serve. Through prayer, reflection, and action, the community has transformed a moment of fear into an enduring source of wisdom, compassion, and unity. Legacy of a leader.